Good evening and welcome to the Nuts and Bolts Show, episode 9. I am Don.
And I am Sean.
And we have a great interview in store for you today. It's our second interview. And now this is not necessarily an unappreciated job, but what we do have here is a star in the making, a YouTube star who does a sports show out of New York City called the New York Sports Show. And I'm a fan of that show. How about you, Sean?
Yes, I am. He does a good job. It's a very interesting guy, and he clearly does his research. He knows what he's talking about. And what I really like is he talks about a wide variety of New York sports teams, including some racing, hockey, and obviously football and basketball, as well as a few others.
Yeah, and he does. He's putting shows out there, sometimes 2, 3, 4 at a clip, and he's informed, and it informs the viewers too. So I like his show. His name is Dominic, and why don't we bring him on, Sean?
Hello.
Welcome to the Nuts and Bolts Show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on. It's an honor.
Excellent. I'm happy to hear that. Sean, so why don't you lead it off?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Dominic, again, it's a pleasure to have you on. And I just want you to start off by telling us a little bit of your background. So who are you, where you came from, and what really made you start doing the show?
Well, that's very good. So for those who don't know, I am Dominic Konowski. I'm the creator and host of the New York Sports Show, which is the #1 all New York sport podcast on the East Coast, featuring every single major New York sport team in NASCAR. The channel itself was created back in 2017. I did not upload on it until 2018 and did not really fully get really into until I would say maybe about a year and a half ago, where it just really has taken off. We have sponsored several race cars on different racing teams in NASCAR, and we've done interviews with some of the biggest names in sports. And really what the New York Sports Show is, it's to basically appeal to, I guess, the average guy. You could say we try to make our videos very short, get to the point. I would say around maybe 2 to 3 minutes is a normal video for me. Doing 5 minutes is long. I try to think of it as this, if someone's driving to work, they can listen to it while they're going to work, and they don't need to go through 7 minutes of a video just to hear one thing about a team that they like.
That's good. You're clearly very well informed, and you obviously do your research. So where is that draw? Like, what really draws you into sports? What's your favorite thing about sports?
The funny part is, if you told me 3 years ago that I was going to be doing a sport podcast, I would think that you were crazy. Yeah, 3 years ago, I could care less about sports. Was not interested in them at all. One day, I don't know what happened. Like I got bumped on the head or something. I just became instantly interested. And me being from Connecticut, everyone in my family is either a Yankee fan, or a Jet fan, or an Islander Rangers fan, or for basketball, the Nets. So I started watching the games, and I was like, you know what? I like this. I like it a lot. So I decided, let me make a show. It was originally supposed to be on Instagram, like on an Instagram Live. I was like, nah, I don't like this. And then I moved to YouTube. It wasn't even going to be called the New York Sports Show. It was going to be called Sports Central USA. And I was like, nah, that doesn't seem right. Let me change that.
That's really cool, man. That's good to hear. And it's interesting to hear how it kind of evolved from, just nothing one day. And then slowly you changed and altered it to get it to where you really liked it. That's really cool to hear. And sports, obviously, there's a lot intertwined with it, and it's something that a lot of people look at, and they really they connect with the players. They really like what they see. And in a crazy world with COVID-19, obviously there's got to be a lot of alterations and accommodations that sports teams have to make. So, what are some things that you have noticed that sports across a bunch of different sports have had to change because of COVID-19?
Of course, they changed a lot. I feel like the biggest thing that they had to change was schedule. We saw the MLB, instead of doing the regular 162 games, they only did 60 games, which was a lot of people were against that because that's not even half of what a regular season is. That would have been 81 games. And we had the NHL I feel like it was kind of like a mess with them and with the scheduling. NBA did it pretty good with the bubble. Overall, I would say every sport did it in a different way, but at the end of the day, it was all pretty similar, if that makes sense. Of course, all of them did the same thing with the COVID testing. I think it's 3 times before each game and 3 times after. But, it was definitely interesting. Of course, nothing like this has happened before, so it was new for every sport out there. I did not think that we were going to see a lot of sports being played this year, especially baseball, as that was on hold for a very long time. But we saw a killer sport, the XFL, that was making its comeback. That killed that. I hope that's coming back possibly in 2021, but it killed. It's supposed to be its inaugural revamped season.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see how adaptive people can be in times of stress like this, especially with something so dynamic as sports, So that's really cool to hear how they've really adapted to that. And Don, I think you had a couple questions as well.
Yeah. And, just to wrap up the COVID, the biggest thing that has been impacted is the fans. Most fans can't go to games. There are some NFL stadiums that are allowing fans, but there's other ones that are not allowing anybody. And then you got these cardboard figures in some baseball stadiums, soccer stadiums, football stadiums. It's really been very odd. And I can't wait for it. I'm sure you can't either, for it to all be over with. But I'm going to dive into the political arena with sports. And for me, and I think for most people, sports is a way to get away from life. It's a 4-hour period or whatever it is in a football game or a hockey game. You want to get away and separate yourself from the things that, are stressing you out, especially politics. And sports seems to have dived into that realm now of politics and maybe getting a little too political. What is your view on that?
I think that sports should stay out of politics. Like you said, it's a place for people to leave all that drama and just chill out, watch their favorite team win or sometimes sadly lose. And I think that's just how it should stay. I don't think that politics should get in sports at all. And of course, we've seen it heavily, massively this year in everything, in every sport played, NASCAR, NBA, NFL, MLB. Now, sometimes that could be a good thing depending what the cause is, but I feel like overall, no matter what it is, I just feel like all the drama should stay out and everyone should just focus on playing the game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think some of the sports, I know baseball, hockey, basketball, definitely basketball, took a hit in ratings, and it could have been a backlash from fans by sports getting a little too political or getting too involved in what was going around outside of sports. NFL, I don't think it took too big of a hit. I actually was going to do that research today and I got busy doing something else, but I'm pretty sure once the NFL started, it was, everybody was so excited just because it's normal. That's where we want to be. And I'm sure you agree with that. Now, I want to have a little fun with you, Dominic, because I've watched a lot of your videos.
Thank
you. You remind me of somebody. And before I have an audio I want you to listen to. So actually, you know what, Sean? Go ahead and play the audio, and then we'll see if Dominic knows who this is.
Who? What was it?
Forrest Gregg.
No, I said it's not Forrest Gregg, goddammit! It's not Forrest Gregg! It is not Jerry Kramer! It is not Fuzzy Thurston. It's not Mel Hine. It's not Vince Lombardi. It's not Ray Nitsky. It's not Mike Webster. It is not Anthony Munoz.
So, do you know who that is?
I mean, I don't know. I know the voice sounds familiar, but I do not know who, to be honest.
That's Chris Russo, better known as Mad Dog.
Chris Russo.
And he used to do the show with Mike and the Mad Dog on WFAN out of New York. And now he's on Sirius doing his own show. I can't remember what it's called right now, which is really bad on my part. But you remind me of Chris Russo or the Mad Dog because he is so he gets so amped up about sports, especially if it involves his teams. So after listening to that, You can see where there's a little comparison. And I'm gonna let Sean segue into why you remind me of Chris Russo and Mad Dog.
Yes. So you had recently a video about the Jets game. I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You were very, very passionate, and rightfully so. I mean, obviously, as a true New York Jets fan, you were angry at what you saw. Any sports fan would be. So with that, what we did was we put together a little video from your audio, from your YouTube video, over the video of the last play of the Jets game. And we're going to play that for you. And then we're going to kind of talk to you about what the video was.
I'm just so ticked off right now. The Jets had everything going with them in the final 3 minutes. We blow it because we're the Jets. We don't want to win. We want to go 0-12. And you know what? We are 0-12 now. This just goes to show you how crummy and how embarrassing and how pathetic, how suckish, and how just bad in general the New York Jets offense and defense is. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. And you know what, Adam Gase, you have failed Sam Darnold. You failed the entire Jets organization and all the Jets fans, and you failed MetLife Stadium. You are a poor excuse of a coach. Poor excuse. Shame on you.
All right. So just talk to us. What really, where was your mind at after you watched that game? What were you thinking?
I have, I don't even know what my mind was at. I was just so disappointed. I wasn't able to get the game on TV, so I was following it play-by-play on my phone, and I have my uncle over who was watching the game on my phone with me, and I said to him, the Jets are up, and there's not even a minute to go. He said, "Oh, they're gonna lose somehow," and actually, they're the Jets, you know. Don't worry, but we're gonna lose, and I'm just like, no, we're not.
Well, listen, I'm a New York Giants fan, and last season that happened almost every single game where I was like, "Oh my God, we got this," and then nope, absolutely not. Of course, it was a loss. It was a heck of an ending to a game, and that's really unfortunate. I know Don felt that really heartbreaking loss as you did, as he's a Jets fan, right, Don?
I'm a weird guy, and I don't have to get into the story of why I like the Giants and the Jets equally. Most people tell me I'm a sicko, but it has something to do with my dad and where we lived, and we owned a store, but I'll save that story for another day. So I do like both teams. And I'm in the kitchen watching that game, Dominic, and I'm cheering because I don't want them to win because I want Trevor Lawrence. But then I find myself cheering like, yes, they're going to win. And then I'm like, wait a minute. It's the Jets. Something bad's going to happen. And you said that you had a backstory to your video, which, by the way, had over 3,000 views. So I want to congratulate you on that because that, in a way, went viral. What was that backstory that you were talking about?
The backstory is... So I come in my studio, and usually when I'm about to do a video, I have my mini notebook to write down notes. I grabbed it, didn't buy anything. I just grabbed it because it's out of habit. Set my camera up, and it's just so like out of frame and everything. Not how I usually would, and I just go off. You know, I wasn't thinking. I was just going off, and I'm just yelling. I was just so disappointed stuff. I had so much to say. If I was able to, I would have just done like an hour-long video of just me just ranting like crazy. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned Chris Russo just now, because when I was done making the video, my since I was talking so loud, my uncle heard everything. He said, "Do you know who Chris Russo is?" I said, "I have no idea." He never showed me the video, so I still have no idea who he was, but he said you should email him or something. You were just like him. I'm just like, okay. Still, like, I just thought that was the funniest thing, though, that you guys compare me to him too. I'm definitely gonna watch a video of him when I get off. Thank you for that. You know, obviously he's a big famous broadcaster, so I thank you for that. That means a lot. But it was just such an unbelievable game. I was just blotting out try to keep the New York sports show family friendly and stuff. So I'm just trying not to just like cuss and everything. Almost whipped my jersey. I have 2 Jet jerseys because I'm just done buying them. I have a Mark Sanchez jersey, and I think it's Dustin Keller or whoever was number 81 back in 2012. And when I was done with the video, I'm just so mad. I kind of whipped it in half, like down the middle.
Wow. Now, Don, you made a good point. You brought up something. You said that you're a Jets fan, but you kind of wanted them to lose to get the first draft pick next year. Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, isn't there some controversy on that?
Well, I don't know about controversy, but Dominic, I'm sure you've heard that some of the experts, so-called experts, had talked about how the Jets lost that game on purpose. And my own brother said that he thought potentially the Jets did that. And I countered, not my brother, I didn't have that conversation later, but I had this conversation today with Sean, that I countered with the fact that the Jets scored 15 unanswered points to take a 4-point lead. And if they were really trying to tank that game, why bother doing that just so you can throw it away later? And to me, it was more like Greg Williams was trying to show that he's a bigger man than Gruden in the last couple of seconds. And let me just show you what I can do. Because as I mentioned before, I was in my kitchen. I don't know what I was doing, maybe dishes. And I saw the second to last play, how the Jets were in man. And I'm thinking, what the frick is that? Now, I'm not a big fan of the prevent defense. I think sometimes teams go to that way too soon and they end up letting go easy points. But this is no doubt where you do the prevent defense. You don't want anybody getting behind you. So I'm yelling from my kitchen, like, what the heck is that? And I'm like, please don't do that again. And what do you know? The next play, another man, he blitzes 8 people. It's one-on-one coverage. It's a rookie corner versus one of the fastest wide receivers in the league, and he gets burned. Newsflash. I mean, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think they blew it on purpose. I think Greg's pounding his chest. What else is he going to do? And he basically got slapped and then lost his job.
Now, what do you think, Dominic? You agree or do you disagree? What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I feel like if the Jets were really trying to blow that game, I don't think that they would have fired Greg Williams the next day. I mean, at the end of the day, it still was up to Adam Gase because he made the final decision, essentially. But I don't think that they would have fired him. And I just think that he was just being like too cocky, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You know, tried going for they had the game in the bag. We would have went 1-11, said well 0-12, and like I said in the Want video, you know, it is like we would go 0-12 because the Jets are the only team that would do that kind of play under 10 seconds to allow a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny, too, because I sent you a comment in your video pre-Jet game, and I said, I have this strange feeling they're going to win. And I thought we had it. I did. And then, boom, you know, it happens. It happened since 1969. The Jets have not done anything, really. Anyway.
It's bad.
So the next thing, Dominic, and I'm just going to let you run with this. I'm going to let you talk about it often, the NFC East and the cluster, you know what, that it is. Sort that all out for us, and who's going to take it?
Okay. So as you said, the cluster, bleep. The NFC East is it's a dumpster fire on top of a ton of just hundreds of other dumpster fires. It's a joke, and just to think that one of those teams will get in the playoffs, none of those teams will get for. If one of those teams can, none of them are gonna go for. None of these teams have a chance. Giants 5-7-0, Washington 5-7-0, Eagles 3-8-1, not even gonna finish above 500. They still have a legitimate chance of winning that division, and the Cowboys are 3-9-0. They have a legitimate chance too. So really, I feel like it's up for grabs. Daniel Jones, he's injured right now with a hamstring injury. We don't know when he'll be back. It is projected for him. Even though it's questionable, it is projected though that he may be back this Sunday's game against Arizona, but it's still up in the air. So in a way, we do not know. And really, I feel like even if he does come back, I don't think that would help the Giants anymore because they did prove that they could beat high teams like the Seattle Seahawks. So that was just a huge upset. But you could say the same thing with Washington, as they destroyed the Steelers and just made a complete joke out of them, giving the Steelers the first loss of the year. No idea how that happened.
Yeah.
My friend, big Steelers fan, I said to him, how does that happen? He says, I don't know. I said, yeah. And he said, the NFC East is trash. And, that's just the truth. None of those teams deserve to make the playoffs. Of course, I cover the Giants. It would be nice to cover two teams in the playoffs because we all know that the Bills will get in almost likely one way or another, as they're just basically having a season that they were having in the 1990s. Most likely will go on to the Super Bowl and lose it, as that's what they're best known for. But it's just unbelievable. If I had to describe the NFC East in one word, it would just be uncompetitive, because I feel like that's just how they are. Losing streaks upon losing streaks. Giants and Washington only have a 4-game and a 3-game winning streak. Besides that, Eagles are a joke, Cowboys are a joke. And a lot of people could say, Cowboys, they're doing bad because they're without Dak Prescott. But I feel like that they would be around the same situation with him, maybe one more win, 2 more win. It's really hard to say. Corona messed up a lot. We've seen a lot of good teams, projectively good teams that were supposed to do very well this year, just struggle because a lot of their players were out because of COVID, or they had to quarantine because they were near someone. I feel like that has played a big factor too. I feel like this year it's a little bit based on who could stay healthy wise than who could just perform better. Right. But of course, the NFC East, it's just really who sucks less, I guess you could.
Now, with that, we would love it if you would grace us with some prediction. So with your knowledge, who do you think is going to win each conference? And from that, who do you think is going to be the winner of the next Super Bowl?
A lot of people, I feel like not a lot of people agree with me. I think we all know Kansas City will win the conference and will make it to the Super Bowl. Packers having a very good season. They're going to win the conference. Don't think a lot of people will agree with me on that, though, with the Packers making it to the Super Bowl. Definitely Chiefs, though. Super Bowl is going to be very tough this year. Like I said earlier, with Corona, it's just really, you could stay healthy. We could have Patrick Mahomes, announced right before the game, he has Corona. There he goes. They go to the backup. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I do think, though, if everyone could stay healthy, that the Kansas City Chiefs will return to being the Super Bowl victor and win it.
He's got it all, that quarterback. Mahomes is the real deal.
And just to think the Jets could have got him, it's sad.
Yeah. And, who knows? The Jets may not even get Lawrence. He might see that the Jets get the first pick and say, you know what? I need more education.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him. I made a video about 2 weeks ago on what the Jets should do, and getting Trevor Lawrence is not in that plan. I feel like just getting a quarterback will not change how the Jets will play overall. They got to get better coaching. They got to get a lot of better things before they start with a quarterback.
Did you hear a rumor about the Jets' future coach and who it might be?
No, I did not. But I mean, as long as it's not Adam Gase, I don't mind. But if you could on that rumor,
I heard Harbaugh might come back out of college to the NFL. Harbaugh. Yeah. I don't know if I like that.
I don't know either, but Adam Gase, he's 7 for 21 with the Jets in just not even a full 2 years. And yeah, I feel like anyone could do better. I really don't care who gets in the head coach role as long as they do better than Gase at this point, because the Jets are just a mockery, and if we go 0-16, but we're never going to hear the end of it. It's been how many years since the butt fumble, and people still bring that to Jet fans. So yeah.
The Jets are a weird team. They have been for quite some time.
They are. They shine for a few years, and then they go back to the bottom. the AFC and just NFL in general, and just be one of the bottom feeder teams, and they make themselves awkwardly known for maybe a year or two.
Yeah. Well, Dominic, before we do our sign off, why don't you promote your show?
Yeah, definitely. But for those who have not checked out the New York Sports, I highly recommend, especially if you follow any New York sport teams or NASCAR in general, it would mean a lot for me. But before you do, make sure to subscribe to the Nutz and Boltz podcast, as this is definitely a big upcoming podcast. I'm honored to be on there. And I just thank you guys for having me on. I started the New York Sports Show. I feel like one of the biggest reasons, didn't have that many friends and got bullied a lot, next to just getting interested in sports. So it's nice to see it doing this road. Never expected that. And, I'm very grateful for that. And I'm very grateful for you guys allowing me to be on this great show.
Well, Dominic, it's a true pleasure to have you on here, and we really do appreciate you, because you clearly know what you're talking about. You clearly enjoy what you do, and that's one of the most important things, is to enjoy the things you do in life. So we just wanted to really sincerely thank you for coming on today, and we'd love to have you back at some point.
I would love to be back on. This was a fun episode.
So for Dominic, I'm Don.
I'm Sean.
And that's the Nutz and Boltz Show.
See ya.
Later.